Has often been associated with grandeur, power, and influence. But beneath the crowns and scepters lies a treasure trove of bizarre, hilarious, and downright quirky stories that reveal the human side of kings, queens, and emperors. These tales, spanning centuries and continents, show us that even the most powerful people on Earth can have their eccentricities, blunders, and moments of unexpected humor. From kings who married animals to queens who waged wars over stolen cakes, the world's monarchs have often left us scratching our heads or laughing out loud. It's fascinating to see how these rulers navigated their duties and their quirks while trying to maintain their royal dignity. These stories remind us that no matter how high their thrones, royals are, in the end, human too. In this video, we'll explore 8 of the quirkiest royal tales ever recorded. Whether it's a king who thought he was made of glass or an empress who bathed in gold dust, these stories are guaranteed to entertain and surprise you. Along the way, we'll also uncover the historical context behind these oddities, giving you a glimpse into the peculiarities of royal life. So, buckle up as we take a journey into the strange and amusing world of quirky royalty. These stories are proof that history isn't just about wars and politics. It's also about the delightfully absurd moments that make us smile. Imagine being so convinced you were made of glass that you refused to let anyone touch you. This was the peculiar belief of King Charles VI of France, who ruled in the late 14th century. Known as Charles the Mad, he suffered from bouts of mental illness. But one of his strangest delusions was his conviction that his body was made entirely of glass and could shatter at the slightest touch. To protect himself, Charles wore specially reinforced clothing and refused to move without an entourage of attendants to shield him from accidental bumps. Despite his fear of breaking, he was still expected to perform his royal duties, leading to many awkward, intense situations at court. Interestingly, Charles's delusion wasn't entirely unique. The glass delusion was a psychological condition that appeared sporadically in medieval Europe, often among the wealthy and educated. Historians believe it may have been linked to stress or the symbolic fragility associated with glass in medieval culture. While Charles's reign was marked by turmoil, his quirky belief has become one of the most memorable anecdotes of royal history. It's a reminder that even kings weren't immune to the anxieties and pressures of their time, though Charles's interpretation of those pressures was certainly unusual. Queen Christina of Sweden, who reigned in the 17th century, was anything but ordinary. Born in 1626, Christina ascended to the throne at just 6 years old after her father, King Gustavus Adolphus, died in battle. Her reign is remembered for her intellect, eccentricities, and controversial decision to abandon the crown altogether. Christina was a highly educated ruler who loved philosophy, art, and science. She invited some of the greatest minds of her time, like French philosopher René Descartes, to her court. But her love for intellectual pursuits often clashed with the expectations of her role as queen. She detested the idea of marriage and the constraints it would impose on her independence. In fact, Christina went so far as to declare that she would never marry, much to the frustration of her advisors and the nobility. Her eccentric behavior didn't stop there. Christina adopted a masculine style of dressing, collected books obsessively, and was known to defy gender norms at a time when conformity was the rule. In 1654, she shocked Europe by abdicating the throne, converting to Catholicism in a staunchly Protestant nation, and moving to Rome to live as a private citizen. Christina's reign and life choices have been the subject of fascination and debate for centuries. Her story stands as a testament to her refusal to conform to the rigid expectations of royalty, making her one of history's most intriguing and unconventional monarchs. In the bustling streets of 19th century San Francisco, a man named Joshua Abraham Norton declared himself Emperor of the United States and Protector of Mexico. Though his royal claim was entirely self-proclaimed, Emperor Norton I became a beloved figure, known for his eccentricity and grandiose proclamations. Born in England in 1818 and later emigrating to the United States. Norton initially made his fortune in the rice trade. However, after losing his wealth in a risky investment, he vanished from public view, only to re-emerge in 1859 with his imperial declaration. He issued edicts demanding the dissolution of the U.S. Congress, the abolition of political parties, and even the construction of a bridge connecting San Francisco to Oakland, which, amusingly, would eventually become a reality with the Bay Bridge. Despite lacking any real power, Emperor Norton was widely adored. Local businesses accepted his self-made currency, newspapers published his proclamations, and he was treated with respect and kindness by the people of San Francisco. Even the police once saluted him when he walked the streets in his imperial uniform, complete with a plumed hat and a cane. When Norton passed away in 1880, over 10,000 people attended his funeral, a testament to the love and admiration he had garnered. His story, though quirky, reflects the spirit of individuality and the power of kindness in creating a legacy, even without a legitimate crown. King Ludwig II of Bavaria, also known as the Fairy Tale King, earned his nickname through his love of fantasy and his extravagant building projects. Born in 1845, Ludwig ascended the throne at just 18 years old. While other monarchs were focused on politics and warfare, Ludwig turned his attention to art, music, and the creation of magical castles that seemed to come straight out of a dream. Ludwig was a patron of the composer Richard Wagner, whose operas inspired much of the king's imagination. However, it was his obsession with architecture that truly set him apart. He commissioned the construction of several magnificent castles, including Neuschwanstein, a breathtaking fortress perched atop the Bavarian Alps. This castle later became the inspiration for Disney's Sleeping Beauty castle, solidifying Ludwig's legacy in popular culture. Despite his artistic vision, Ludwig's spending was seen as reckless, and his eccentric behavior made him unpopular among Bavaria's government officials. He was eventually declared insane and deposed in 1886 under mysterious circumstances. Tragically, Ludwig was found dead in a lake just days later, his death shrouded in speculation and conspiracy theories. Though his reign was marked by controversy, King Ludwig II remains a symbol of creativity and individuality. His castles continue to captivate millions of visitors each year, proving that his fairy tale vision outlived his troubled mind. Sultan Ibrahim is Kandar Johor, is not Malaysia, is not known for his love of fast cars and he has made headlines for his passion for motor racing and luxurious. Sultan Ibrahim's collection of over 300 cars, including rare, is the stuff of legend, and a reflection of his unconventional. One of the most fascinating aspects of Sultan Ibrahim's story is his hands-on approach. He doesn't just collect cars; he drives. He doesn't just collect cars. The Sultan has participated in several racing. The Sultan has participated in several racing events, including the prestigious skills behind the wheel of where he showcased his skills. His enthusiasm for speed extends beyond. He's also a trained pilot and a skilled motorist. He's also a trained pilot. While Sultan Ibrahim enjoys the finer things connected to his people. He is also known for his approachable personality. He often drives himself around to chat with his collection of cars. His efforts to modernize the state and engage the subjects have earned him both his dedication to his passions and responsibilities. Sultan Ibrahim's story is a reminder that even royals can have a tradition with his love for speed. By blending tradition, he has carved out a unique identity. Proving that kings can indeed live life in the fast lane. King Farouk of Egypt, who ruled from 1936 to 1952, was a king known for his unusual quirks and extravagant lifestyle. While he was undeniably charismatic and charming, his eccentric hobbies and outlandish behavior made him one of the most talked about royals of the 20th century. Farouk had a bizarre obsession with collecting things. He amassed a vast array of peculiar items, from antique clocks to luxury cars. However, his most infamous collection was that of other people's possessions. Farouk was an alleged kleptomaniac. Rumors circulated that he once stole Winston Churchill's pocket watch and even swiped a ceremonial sword from the Shah of Iran. In addition to his collecting habits, Farouk had an unusual appetite. Stories claim that he once consumed 600 oysters in a single sitting and enjoyed feasting on exotic dishes imported from around the world. Despite his excesses, he retained a sense of humor, famously nicknaming himself Farouk the First, the Last, and the Only. Farouk's reign eventually came to an end in 1952, when he was forced to abdicate during a military coup. He lived the rest of his life in exile in Europe, still surrounded by his collections and eccentricities. Though his rule is remembered for its decadence and decline, King Farouk remains a colorful figure in royal history, a man who lived life entirely on his own terms. Queen Ranavalona I of Madagascar, who ruled from 1828 to 1861, was one of history's most controversial monarchs. Nicknamed the Mad Queen by her enemies, she ruled with an iron fist, earning a reputation for her brutal policies and relentless defense of her kingdom's sovereignty. Ranavalona came to power during a time of increasing European colonial pressure in Africa. Determined to keep Madagascar independent, she expelled Christian missionaries, banned European practices, and waged wars against the neighboring kingdoms. Her methods were harsh. She introduced draconian laws, conducted deadly loyalty tests on her subjects, and was known for swift punishments. Despite her fearsome reputation, Ranavalona's reign had its achievements. She strengthened Madagascar's economy by encouraging local industries and reducing foreign dependency. Her resistance to colonization delayed European conquest for decades, making her a figure of fierce independence in Malagasy history. Her reign, however, was marked by great suffering. Her policies led to widespread famine, forced labor, and population decline. When she died in 1861, Madagascar was both free from European control and deeply scarred by her rule. King Zog I of Albania, who ruled from 1928 to 1939, was a king with a unique addiction: coffee. Known for drinking up to 20 cups of coffee a day, Zog was a monarch who lived life fueled by caffeine and intrigue. Born Ahmed Zogu, he declared himself king in 1928, bringing a mix of modernization and old-world charm to Albania. His reign was marked by efforts to centralize power and modernize the country, but also by numerous assassination attempts, an astounding 55 in total. Zog became so paranoid about his safety that he carried a gun at all times and even personally returned fire during one attack. Despite his turbulent reign, Zog's obsession with coffee remained a constant. It's said that he surrounded himself with lavish coffee sets and enjoyed lengthy coffee sessions while conducting royal business. His love for coffee became a symbol of his personality: energetic, restless, and always alert. Zog's reign came to an end in 1939 when Italy invaded Albania. He spent the rest of his life in exile, moving between countries but never giving up his royal demeanor or his coffee habit. His story is a blend of determination, eccentricity, and the enduring allure of caffeine. Royalty is often associated with grandeur, tradition, and power, but as these quirky stories show, even kings and queens have their peculiarities. From Queen Christina's defiance of gender norms to Emperor Norton's imaginary empire, these rulers remind us that humanity transcends titles. Their quirks and eccentricities add a relatable and often humorous dimension to their otherwise exalted lives. These tales also highlight how history is not just shaped by battles and policies, but by personalities. Sultan Ibrahim's passion for cars, King Ludwig's dreamlike castles, and King Zog's coffee-fueled vigilance paint vivid pictures of monarchs who followed their hearts, even if it meant defying expectations. While some rulers, like Queen Ranavalona, chose ruthless paths, their legacies remain testaments to the complexities of leadership. Ultimately, these quirky stories remind us that even the most powerful individuals are just people with habits, dreams, and challenges. In their imperfections, we find a sense of connection, proof that history is as colorful and unpredictable as the people who lived it.